Oh man, that is some good water loop. Hi there, it's Timmy Joe. I make videos about computers on the internet, and that's not a bong. It's a water loop fill-up tube. Shut up. This is the PC that I used in the beginning of this set. And it wasn't mine. I borrowed it from North Bay Computer Doctors, and I think, it's a nice little system. Had a lot of fun with it. Stole some stuff out of it for a little bit. Had to put it back in yesterday, and now that I've got it all cleaned up and ready to go, it's going back, getting out of my hair. I got too many computers all around here, so thought before I threw it away and gave it back to the powers that be, I would do a little review on the system itself, as well as pretty much this will be a review on the case, the Lian-Li Q37, because very nice case. I really like this little puppy, and I figured it was worth having a look because it's kind of tempered glass aluminum. It fits even a custom water loop in it, and it has a very small footprint. In fact, it's like half the size of my Threadripper PC that's usually here. So let's go ahead and turn it on, and we'll hear just how silent it can get. There's a little whoosh, and it's good to go. So when I first got this thing, it was very loud. It sounded like a fish tank. There was air in the system, as well as the pump was mounted directly to the case without any sort of rubber between it, leaving like a resonance effect. And it kind of didn't sound very good. Man, that thing looks good, doesn't it? But I got her all fixed up. I got the air out of the system, and put some more fluid in there, topped her off, as well as I moved the pump onto a hard drive tray that now has some rubber mounts. I'll show you just in a second here. But let's go over the specs real quick, because they don't matter too much. It's not like you can buy this system. And I didn't pick these parts. They don't make sense to me, so we'll get them out of the way so we can just mostly talk about the case. It's the Lian-Li Q37, and inside of it, it's a Core i5 7400. Non-K. 3 gigahertz Core i5, you can't overclock, with a custom loop on it. I don't know why, but that's the way it is. It stays nice and frosty cold though, like 30 degrees. Never goes above that unless you're like really giving the gills. Maybe in gaming, the GPU would make it warm up a little bit, but even with a couple Cinebench runs, I couldn't get that thing over 60 degrees. So efficient. Yeah, and then the GPU is a GTX 1080. It's actually the one I've been using for all my testing on Vega and what have you. I took it out of there sneakily, put the cooler back on it, and then I put my GTX 1070 in there because it's the same block, and I've been running it like that for a while. But I had to put it all back together yesterday because that's not my stuff. And I have Vega now, and I have a GTX 1080 Ti coming very soon. So who cares about 1080s, right? Anyways, there's the Trident RGB RAM in there that looks really nice. It glows. It's 16 gigs and it's 3000 megahertz, so at least there's a little bit of a RAM overclock. There is a SATA drive in here, no CZ, that's gonna give you some nice storage, and it's very speedy. Solid state drive tucked in the back here. So let's just we'll show you the cable management. When I got this thing, it was kind of a mess inside here. I cleaned her all up, made her look very nice. Mounted the pump, as you see on that rubber, there's rubber feet on that hard drive tray, so now there's no more noise or vibration through the case, and it makes for a really good time. Now the pump's in there because there's not enough room in here to have the pump underneath the reservoir like it normally would be, and this is all EK stuff, which is really nice stuff. Too bad they're kind of jerks to me, and I'm not going to be buying their stuff. Maybe I will. Probably will. I mean, it's the best stuff, unless somebody else wants to send me something. Anyways, so yeah, the fittings, the tubing, the GPU block, the CPU block, all of it is EK, and it works out really nice. They're like quick draw fittings or whatever. You just, undo a little thing, and then you put the thing on, and then you just try to tighten it back up, and it works really well. Some of it's hardline, some of it's bendable too, like this. It works out really nice. Now, as you can see, this case is just awesome. All the panels come off, even the front one, like that. And it makes it so you have access to dust filters under here. This thing supports a 240 mil radiator, which works out really nice. Just in case you want to see what the inside of it looked before it was plumbed full of components. That's what it looked like inside there. That's their website. They show an AIO in it, but we managed to get a water loop in it. So you can do that with this case as long as you're using an ITX and maybe you're limiting yourself to one rad. I don't think you could fit another rad underneath the GPU without having some clearance issues with fans and stuff like that. But maybe a crafty person could make it work. But yeah, you could probably put a custom loop in here with the 7700K and really get 5 gigahertz probably or close to it if you had a delidded CPU and still have a pretty nice GPU overclock. You might have to increase some fan speeds or something, but very well accommodating little case here, the Lian-Li Q3700. So yes, this PC stays frosty cold, and for gaming, I mean, it's a 1080. It's in a Core Kaby Lake product. It's going to be very, very good at games, and I don't have any gaming benchmarks for it because that's not really the point of this. It's more of the showcase of the case. But a few problems that I had come up with is number one, if you want to gain access to the innards of this case, in order to take the glass panel off, you're just removing these screws, and there is no system to hold the tempered glass on. It just plops down, which is kind of annoying because number one, you're going to get it all smudged because you have to grab it with your hands unless you've got like a glove on or something like that. And then, putting it back, you have to be very, very careful not to get your fingerprints on the inside of it as you smush it up here and then put these bolts back in. So it'd be nice if there was like some dedicated area to grab the glass, or maybe if you take this off and you're really careful, you can get it done. There's also no way to grab this case and hold it and move it on a table very easily without smudging the glass or even risking dropping it, because there's no handles or any thought, and all around the base of it is covered. There's nowhere to slip your fingers underneath, so you kind of gotta shove it like this a little bit, and it ends up being kind of heavy because it's all glass and aluminum. It's not like there's any plastic or anything in this thing. So but all in all, I'm very impressed that you can get a water loop in this little case. You can make it very efficient, and because there's airflow through these ducts, we have it blowing in through the bottom, up through the top, and because the blocks take care of any heat, you might have some heat from the VRMs or something like that. Fresh air is being pushed in. There's also room for, at the back here, you could put some 80 mil fans. I don't know if many people would do that, but there ain't a lot of room for much else in there. And I think if you had a really big GPU, you might run into some clearance issues too, because where the custom sleeve plugs into the GPU there is right butted up against the glass. So if you had a tall GPU, you might have an issue closing the door. But we do have a water block on there, and it does fit, so there's at least that. So this has been an overview of the Lian-Li PC Q37, and it's a very, 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 very nice case. You can put pretty much anything in it. It's very, very versatile. But I would say it leans more towards the aesthetic and a little less towards the utility of a PC case, but it doesn't make many trade-offs to do that. And if you have the right components and the right size components, you can basically do anything with this thing. You could get a 1080 Ti mini, fit this thing in there with a little block, and you could go to town on a 7700K custom water looped, or even put AIOs in this thing. I think the only thing that you might have an issue with is an air cooler, oddly enough, because it's going to just be too tall for this little volume here for a really big one. So you'd have to get one of those ones that lays flat or something like that. So I'm at Watch Timmy Joe on Instagram and Twitter. This has been the Lian-Li Q37 with a custom water loop built into it, and I really, really did enjoy using this PC, but it's going back to Computer Doctors where it will be on sale. And I would say this is a hell of a gaming machine, but not much of a productivity machine with the low clocks and the only 4 cores, non-overclockable. You're gonna, this is probably gonna be a very, very nice gaming PC that's very quiet, very efficient, very cool for someone. But as far as it being like a CPU powerhouse, it'll be a little bit limited there. But in the end, I think the just how it looks really forgives the shortcoming of the CPU. and I think I'm going to miss it. I wish it was on the set just because it's a little bit smaller. The Threadripper PC is huge, but you got to make some trade-offs to have huge processing power. So I will see you guys in the next video. I watch Timmy Joe on Instagram and Twitter. Hit the bell button or something like that. Hit the subscribe button. I do all kinds of content about all kinds of PCs, about all kinds of tech, and it's a really fun time. And I usually just yell at the camera, make references about bongs, and then we all have a freaking good time. So I'll see you guys later.